Matthews. I'm the host of the longest running self-produced daily podcast in the world. I have to do a little boast intro like that now because everybody's boasting these days. It's all about boasting. Who can boast the most? So I had to do that little bit of an intro to tout what I've achieved in this great big world of podcasters. So many podcasters, and I stand out because I've done it way longer. Most of them were making cute little messes in their diapers when I started podcasting. So, you know, or even they were not even in existence at all. So thank you for listening to the show. And yes, it is episode 2925. So let me open the door for you, for I am a gentleman. Let me open the door to this fine establishment that we call Café Anyway. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
It's Mike's Daddy Podcast.
Somewhere in PodCastro Valley. There was an interesting button that was pressed that I just turned off now. Mike's Daily Podcast. So that will make things sound a little bit different here on the show. It's Mike Matthews. How you doing on this episode? It's episode 2925. Did you know that where you're coming from? Do you like the things that life is showing you? That's a song from the 60s, I think, or 70s, thereabouts. That general Bob. Mike's Daily Podcast. Bob Pack, I think is the proper way of saying that word. Okay, that's right. Mike's. That's Daily. How we sum up this show. Podcast. So far for you. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do on this show today is talk about things that make us smile, make us happy. It's usually stuff that we remember, good times from our childhood. Things that we did that were, so much fun. I really enjoyed that cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid. Now, when I was a kid, this was not a cartoon. This was not out. But if you look at this cartoon, it did break a lot of ground. It made a lot of children happy. SpongeBob SquarePants. If you're a fan of that show, as many are, Wendy's will tap into that nostalgia that you have with a limited time Krabby Patty collab cheeseburger and pineapple under the sea frosty. And that is where we are, everybody. It's going to be a Teletubby burger? A Barney burger? Oh, that would be sad because that would be eating Barney and that's not good. Or Blue's Clues. I was talking to somebody, a young person that I work with, and he loves Blue's Clues. He grew up with that, and apparently it's come back. Paramount Plus owns it. So, you know, they're making bucks off of that. They got Star Trek, and they got Blue's Clues, if you didn't know. Okay, all that fascinating stuff. And we've only just gotten to the top of that iceberg.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Such a hot week that we had last week in PodCastro Valley. I would sure like to be on a iceberg like a penguin. When I heard Penguins was coming to town, I built this small but effective fence. Turns out Penguins is a yogurt shop, or it was a yogurt shop, and that commercial was voiced by and acted with the great John Goodman. It was one of his early acting roles. He did a lot of commercials early on, as did Bryan Cranston. Did you know? The late great Basil the Boxer, he would love chasing a penguin. He would have loved doing that, but instead he stuck to other birds that are actually around PodCastro Valley. Well, more like around the beach. Near PodCastro Valley, about a 45-minute drive, Half Moon Bay, he would chase the seagulls and the sandpipers. Only once did he go to Pacifica, another fine place. Interestingly enough, Pacifica you can get to a lot faster sometimes. You just got to remember not to park right by the beach because you won't find any parking, especially on a hot day. But I took Bart to Pacifica recently. And what I did was I took it to Daly.
This show is clean.
Daly City, and I got off and I took the 110 bus. and it's about a half-hour drive, and it gets you to Pacifica. Well, it gets you to the top. You have to still walk down a hill to get to Pacifica, but you're basically there. Oh, what a fun trip that was, except waiting for the bus to show up. And it was a hot one. And there was sangria involved and possibly a hazy IPA. And that's a little too much going on with heat and that and oof. So you got to be careful there on those hot days. But that's all I'm saying is that, woo, Hurricane Helene and iPhone satellites. Yes, iPhone satellite mode. Due to the lack of cell service, people were using iPhones to get messages out with the satellite messaging feature on the iPhone. It was saving lives. The iPhone satellite mode. I have a Samsung, so I would be up a creek without a paddle in that situation. And Starbucks is investing.
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
Thank you. That sounds like a line from Star Trek. Were you quoting from Star Trek just then and Paramount Plus? Hopefully they weren't listening. They probably weren't. But there was this thing where Starbucks is investing in 2 innovative farms because they want to climate-proof their coffee. Starbucks buys how much of the world's coffee supply? 50%? 90%? No, actually only 3%. I was shocked to see that statistic. But they're going to try and do that, and, they'll put a big poster up in their Starbucks.
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
And speaking of that, I brought us a nice little picnic, and everybody gets a scone with the podcast picnic. You're welcome. Scones. I like the maple scones myself, but perhaps I've revealed a little too much about myself. Here's the thing. Costco is now selling 1-ounce platinum bars. How much for a platinum bar that weighs 1 ounce? Try $1,089. Yes, almost $1,100. Now,
I got through that. I got into it.
You got into it? You got into the platinum? Well, will they glitter like gold? Gold is up 44.5% in the past 12 months. And less than 12 months ago, I was at a Costco. And that was the day... Oh, I forgot to buy mayonnaise. And I really needed mayonnaise. Because I'm white. It's part of my culture. We eat a lot of mayonnaise. We put mayonnaise in everything. Actually, mayonnaise is just in everything now. You put it in with a little bit of lemon and garlic. You got a lemon garlic aioli.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
I think that's what you do to make aioli. Isn't there mayonnaise involved? Anyway, Café Anyway. The thing is, that's how we make it here at Café Anyway. As we go outside of Café Anyway, that's why we're leaving. Somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica with all these topicas. And let me tell you, if you are not going to the Facebook channel that we have, just look us up, mikesdailypodcast.com/ wait. Well, yeah, the link is on mikesdailypodcast.com. Look for the Facebook link. Or you can just go to facebook.com/ mikesdailypodcast. Either way. But if you go to my website, if you go to my website, mikesdailypodcast.com, I'm so overjoyed, so full of overjoyment, because that means that paying for that website is actually a good investment, and I should keep doing it. And with all the work I put into it, I guess I should keep doing it. But you know that when I was there a couple months ago, and I asked the guy at the counter, I said, "Hey, I bought all my stuff, but I forgot to get mayonnaise. Can you get me a mayonnaise?" And he's like, "Sure. Do you want the best foods, or do you want the QP?
People get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
Or is it QPie? QPie? KEWPIE, I think. He asked me if I wanted one or the other, and I should have went with the QPie, because that stuff is great and you can just squirt it out, but it's a little bit more expensive than the best foods. The point is, I ended up getting both. But the point is, while I was there, And that's too much mayonnaise, and that's bad for my diet. But when I was there, what ended up happening was right in front of my eyes, one of the Costco peoples comes up to the guy that I was talking to who was behind the desk and said, "Hey, we got another gold bar." And he goes, "Oh, we're almost sold out."
MTV News. You hear it first.
And the M in that means money. MTV means money TV, because we're doing money TV, talking about money things at the moment. And that cost a lot of money to buy that gold bar or whatever it was. So, wow. He goes, "Oh, yeah, we're down to our last one." And I asked him, "Is that really? You guys are selling gold?" He goes, "Oh, we sell out every day." So this was a couple months ago. Somebody was reading the tea leaves and knew something was coming up. All these wars and whatnot and the elections. Well, we all knew the elections were coming up and it was going to be messed up and weird. But we're going to get through it, everybody. You couldn't really predict the Hurricane Helene costing up to $34 billion.
Babagoo. Things to do. Things to do.
Things to do is maybe invest in a generator company. My ex-wife lives now in the state of Louisiana, and they just had a big hurricane come through there. It dropped a bunch of water on their house where she lives. She remarried. Her family got through the hurricane except for a tree fell over. But she says, we bought a generator because it was just everything you have to throw out in the fridge or eat it, cook it up, do a hurricane party, whatever they call it, where everybody on the block cooks all their food because they don't want it to go to waste. But she said, yeah, we just said, hey, let's go. And she said that. And she said, okay.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
And all my sentences start with she said, which is weird. Now I've got my storytelling has gone into a weird state. Not the state of Louisiana. Let's back up. Let's go talk about this Hurricane Helene, because the property damage could be up to $26 billion. The economic disruptions caused by school and office closures were estimated at costing $5 billion to $8 billion. And it's weird when you hear a story like this, it just sounds like they're throwing the word billion after every number that they just cook up, pull out of the air, and you're like, oh.
Magnification.
Okay, whatever. And then it just starts to all fade into the woodwork and into the background, and it's just billion this, billion that. Okay. But what's interesting is a quartz mine is shut down for now because of all the water that poured in. In the last podcast, I spoke about how much water it was. We actually had some help from a AI app to tell us how much water fell, but it was a lot. I mean, it filled up like the whole Lake Tahoe or something. And some of that water, all that water coming down, filled up the quartz mine and caused it to shut down. So that's going to cost $110 billion.
The Royal Trump tweet decree.
Oh, and he's going to say, I cannot believe the stuff he says. What? You got to come on. Even if you're like rooting for him all the way. What? It's now everything he says, he's saying just so that he can get into office. It's just like if you were like walking into a house and there's a guy in there and he's sitting on your couch and you say, who are you? Oh, this is my house.
The Republicans continue to point to San Francisco, but at the end of the day, oftentimes they are picking up their iPhone, which was introduced in San Francisco, calling their Ubers or Lyft, companies started and based in San Francisco, to go to their Airbnb company still and started in San Francisco, and then to go and tweet something nasty about our city, which again was a company until recently in San Francisco. $34 billion of venture capitalist investment last year alone, the AI capital of the world. That's what I will say. You can continue to try and put out a narrative, but the facts tell a different story.
London Breed there, the mayor of San Francisco, and I just went through San Francisco today. I didn't really stop, but I headed through there to get to the beach. It's the only way to cool down in Pacifica. But the thing is that if you want to be a right-wing talk show host, here's what you do. whine. All you got to do is just whine about, complain about every little thing, and then blame it on Kamala. Whatever it is. I couldn't turn my lights on today in my house because there was a guy on a couch. Blame it on Kamala. There's a guy on my couch.
Band's mutations.
And perhaps he's from a band that was popular at one point. Maybe was in a band with several of the members of the group Chicago. And then he started another band called Detroit. I don't know. Café Anyway. Band's mutations. I can't think of a band's mutation right now. Dang. This is bringing my podcast to a complete and utter halt. That's sad. Because there was a couple... I'm just fascinated by these guys that go from band to band. I guess you had Nirvana, and then you had... From Nirvana, you had Dave Grohl, who then started Foo Fighters. That's a band's mutation. Okay, we came up with one. My point is, the guy sitting on my couch, why is he on my couch? Blame Kamala. There's like, why are people breaking into my house? It's Kamala's fault. Everything's Kamala's fault. And he can't say Kamala. He says Kamala. Is that
you know,
it?
there's a real scary holiday coming up.
Communist law. Anyway, he says it wrong. My point is, the next crazy holiday coming up is Halloween, and then we get the election. So that's going to be a little bit of a scary 1-2 punch. So neither homeowners insurance nor hurricane insurance covers flood damage. That's Kamala's fault. Kamala? I forget how he says it. Anyway, Café Anyway, all you got to do is, if you're in a swing state, just go outside. Trump is doing a rally right by your house, I'm sure.
A flying saucer.
He's doing a rally from a flying saucer at this point. So, the years of skyrocketing prices for home and flood insurance have left some without coverage and others choosing low-cost plans with weaker policies. And that is all Kamala's fault, too. Amazon, I'm joking here because, you know, he blames everything on her. And when it wasn't her fault, it was, of course, Joe Biden's fault. And then when he gets called out on it, he says, oh, the media, they're all liars.
They're
all Jarrell Name. They're all liars. Anyway, Café Anyway. Oh, let's wrap this up. Amazon is going to increase the number of advertisements. No! On Prime Video. No, I'm enjoying Elementary with Lucy Liu and the something Miller guy that used to date Angelina Jolie years ago. Fallout. Okay, so this is written by Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He's heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings, and he is on Cron TV Monday through Thursday. Oh, and if you watched me on, and he's on in the 9 o'clock hour. If you see me on Facebook in the video today, I got little hearts on my cheeks. I forgot to mention that part. So he said Fallout was his favorite TV show to watch with his son. Amazon is set to roll out a greater number of advertisements across...
I've just been announced as a VP nominee. I gave my big speech, and I saw my wife, and I gave her a big hug and a kiss because I love my wife, and I think that's what a normal person does. Tim Walz gave his wife a nice, firm Midwestern handshake and then tried to sort of awkwardly correct for it. So I think that what it is two people, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who aren't comfortable in their own skin because they aren't comfortable with their policy positions for the American people. And so they're name-calling instead of actually telling the American people how they're going to make their lives better. I think that's weird, Dana, but look, they can call me whatever they want to.
You're saying Tim Walz doesn't have affection for his wife? I don't even understand that.
I said that he acted weird, which he did, on a national stage in front of his wife.
Every time J.D. Vance is on any kind of show where he's interviewed, he looks horrible. He says stupid things like that. And then you put him in a debate situation, and they're telling him, be like Trump, don't let him, make up stuff, blame everything on Kamala, etc. And he ended up he showed a little humanity. He's like, oh, Governor Tim Walz, I'm sorry to hear that your daughter that there was a shooting at her school. And, I mean, there's some humanness that comes out. Now, let's magnify that. Where's that? We missed that. There is a collective wow going on in the world after that debate, after that vice presidential debate. And everybody's like, oh, vice president debates don't mean anything. I even said it. But the thing is, that one did, because it showed that there needs to be a sea change, that there needs to be a complete turnabout and pivot. And I talked about this 4 years ago, and it didn't happen, and it made me so angry. People just wanted to wallow in the negativity. And I'm telling you, J.D. Vance has it in him not to be that. So keeping my fingers crossed. All right. Amazon is going to roll out more advertisements, not to be negative, but it's all Kamala's fault. I'm joking. Across its blockbuster television shows and movies on Prime Video next year, the company has not seen a sharp drop in subscribers since it introduced advertising to its Prime Video platform 8 months ago. And everybody watching on the video, I'm going to stop it now. Oh, I haven't even gone live yet. All that time I thought I was going live, and I didn't go live. Hello, welcoming all of you watching live for about 5 seconds because my phone's about to die. The company has not seen a large drop in subscribers. Hey, Nilly's here. All right. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How's y'all doing?
As a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
Nilly was really happy to see you, Mike, because you're not being negative. You're being positive, just like J.D. Vance is trying to be positive. Mm-hmm.
Well, he was in the debate. Overall, he's trying to be like Trump and be negative because Trump's handlers are telling him to be that way. But hey, and there's a right-wing commentator that I do not agree with at all, and she said that J.D. Vance is a star, and a star was born during the debates, and I'll agree with her on some of it, and I'll read that to you at some point, but a lot of it I disagree with. But yeah, it's got to bring some positivity back to this great country, Disgruntled Fiddle Player.
Well, my name has some negative connotations because I am disgruntled, but overall I'd have to agree with you. Tell you what.
What? Oh, Amazon is set to... Okay, so we got the commercials that they're going to start putting in there. They have not seen a sharp drop. Oh, look who else is making stuff, bringing me things, interrupting me, and making me try and come up with other bands, mutations bands. There was the band The Firm. The Firm came from Led Zeppelin. Paul Rogers, who had been in a band called Free and Bad Company. Bands, mutations. Oh, boy. That's hard work.
Mike has some of my root beer. I put delicious pumpkin spice latte like I did last week because I can't think of anything else to say. Oh, boy.
All right, I'm going to drink it right now. Hey, that tastes like my sun tea that I made today because it was hot.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Drink right now, I'll cut you. Oh, boy.
Thank you. Amazon has a global ad reach of about 200 million people, with more than half in the U.S., and they have not seen a sharp drop in subscribers since it introduced advertising to its Prime Video platform 8 months ago. I'll tell you why. Because they just do 1 or 2 commercials, and they're not really, really annoying. It's not like when you watch Peacock with commercials and you get 100 stupid, ridiculous reality TV show commercials and promos. The Prime ones were okay to watch. It just brushed past you. It didn't annoy you. Like, okay, so I'm watching the Daily Zeitgeist or listening to it, and it's got 100 commercials at the beginning of the podcast. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm not even going to listen to this thing. Mike, just fast forward past it. No. If they're going to salt my ears and not have anything to show for it to pull me in, I ain't going to listen. And that's just the way Mike Matthews rolls. What do you think about all of that? Here's a number to call me at.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Netflix, Max, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, they have brought in an ad-supported tier at a lower price than subscriptions that carry no ads. They brought in an ad-supported tier at a lower price than subscriptions that carry no ads. For now, no ad breaks in the middle of a program on those streamers, but that may be next. Of all the streamers, Amazon is uniquely positioned to convert advertising to sales. They will interrupt, like they interrupt in the middle of a episode of Elementary, which features the guy that had something going on with Angelina Jolie at one point, and stars Lucy Liu. What the heck happened to Lucy Liu? I know she's immortalized forever in that Outkast song, but where'd she go? Hey, yeah. It's the end of the show. With all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you so much for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.